Hey everyone, I wanted to talk to you about a concept I've been working with about core strengthening. So, almost everyone understands something about core strengthening and the importance of what strengthening can do for you. Currently, I've been fairly disappointed with the majority of the exercises out there. And the reason for the disappointment is I'm able to do the majority of exercises that are being taught and recognize that my core is not kicking in. Now, what I mean by that is I can feel whether or not my pelvic floor is kicking in. And in my opinion, for a male, it's a tad bit easier than a female because we have external parts that move when you use the pelvic floor. So that's the first indicator that the pelvic floor is not kicked in when I do most core exercises. Now, that could mean I'm just messed up and I'm not responding well to the core exercises, so maybe I need to change things. Or it means that you can get away with doing certain strengthening exercises and not kick in the muscles we think we're kicking in. Now, with that, most of these exercises, and actually I'll use an example, a plank. I can do a plank and I can do it without the core on. And I can actually hold a fairly good position of a plank without the core being contracted. Now, that's not to say that the plank is not good for me. I feel it annihilate my stomach. I feel my my I feel my obliques. I feel my rectus abdominis just getting hammered. But oddly enough, I can mess with my core and I can say, yeah, it's on, or no, it's not on. So that was an intriguing finding to me that with the current way that we teach core training, I can turn my core on and off. And we teach it that way. And typically, when someone has back problems or back pain, we teach them to, all right, you need to be aware of this, you need to tighten this, you need to do this. And all these things are using your mind to try to get the core to start working right. And in some cases, that may be all you get. And we got to do what we got to do. And even though it's not necessarily ideal, it's what we can use to get the core kicked in. Now, the reason why I'll say it's not ideal is when you have a healthy person with no back pain, no problems, if you tell them to tighten their core, there's like, well, what are you talking about? And tightening your core is not necessarily a normal activity. For a person that's really never had back pain or back problems, typically their core kicks in automatically. And that automatic contraction happens no matter if they want it or not. Now, someone that has experienced back pain or experienced problems and they need core work, those muscles don't always turn on. And that's the reason for the concept of let's tighten this, do this, be aware of this, muscles. Well, I feel even though it is helpful, I think we may be mistraining patients. And this concept was taught to me quite a few years ago, and I've been putting it to the test quite a bit, and I can honestly say I really enjoy this particular approach. So, we need to teach core training to people with back pain or athletes or kids that have just hit in puberty All of those populations, really everyone, they can benefit from some type of core training, primarily because general public is way more sedentary than normal. With puberty, there's changes in the body that happen rapidly, and if the lack of kids being active and physical, they may or may not develop the proper muscles. So, getting the core aware and getting it to be useful is very important. Now, what I would say is important is not necessarily getting the core kicked in, but working on the reflex of getting the core kicked in. And what I mean by that is if you watch videos of weightlifters, there's tons of stuff out there now. You could watch bucket loads of videos of weightlifting, deadlifts, squats, whatever it is. And if you watch how the weightlifter lifts weights, as they're approaching the weight, if you look at their lower belly, it may be kind of pushing out or loose in nature. And then when they are thinking, all right, it's time to do it, they go and grab the weight, and actually probably even before they grab the weight, automatically the core kicks in. Now, the core kicks in without them thinking about it. All right, so that's a preparatory activity that the body does to protect itself. So the core is necessary to protect the spine and to protect the body from injury. So it usually, actually it does. It kicks in before like a person actually engages with the activity. So if you watch videos, it's kind of cool. You can see when the core kicks in and when it doesn't. And you can pick up if you watch enough of them, you can pick up when someone doesn't have their core kicking in well. And their stability is a little off, their function's a little bit off, and the ability to lift is not there. So what I think we need to do is work the reflex. And so essentially, how do you kick on a reflex to turn on the core so you don't have to think about it? And this is what has been shown to me in the past, and I actually think it's really great. So I want to share it with you today.